If a man doesn't really know what he's being called to do, what his purpose is in the earth, he will meander around and not really have a vision and not really have a goal that he's aiming for. And you can just ask him, what are you called to do? What are you here to do? What is your purpose in life? Where are we going? And if he can't answer you, he doesn't know. Mm-hmm. And then you have to make the choice, do I want to jump in now or do I want to wait till he knows where he's going? Because you're not going to just drive me around anywhere.
Welcome to Hardly Initiated. It is your host, Tyshawn Jackson, here with another episode with my co-host, Ryan Ketches.
I like that energy today, man. I can tell you're excited about this one.
Man, we got a wonderful couple here.
Yeah, definitely.
That is going to bring you guys a lot of perspective. In particular, we got 23 years of marriage on the platform here today.
23 years.
This is the 23rd year.
This is.
Watch this pop quiz. Watch me set them up. When's the anniversary?
Now, see, why you want to do that? June 21st, 2000.
June 21st, 2000. Yeah. And it is here 2023, and you guys are still here. And I've been speaking with you. I've had the blessing to meet you guys over these past few weeks. I've been very impressed with what you guys have built, guys. These two not only have a lovely marriage, a lovely family, but they've been able to build a tremendous amount of wealth using real estate as their vehicle all the while. Y'all know how hard it is to just like somebody for 23 years, but they also figured out how to make some money during the process. And we're going to go ahead and talk about navigating the money and the marriage here today.
Because so this is the thing. We started a YouTube membership and we asking our members what exactly they want us to bring to the platform. Mm-hmm. So marriage and money was a big deal.
Yes.
And the thing is, I was surprised by how many women, they're like, really aspire to build businesses, to build wealth, and just really build anything with their spouse. Right. So they're like, hey, can y'all bring somebody on who's done it so we can get some expertise? So there's ladies out there that's trying to nudge their man to do something a little bit bigger. That includes them. And then there's also, we got some men that's like, yo, I'm trying to take my wife along the ride, but I think we need some help trying to put that all together.
So in order to help y'all out, we have here brought you guys Rod and Jen Spratley. Welcome to Hardly Initiated.
Thanks, guys. Well, I mean,
Thank you so much.
We're absolutely
Thanks for having
honored
us
to be here. We're big fans. So love what you guys do, and we love the opportunity to be able to get into this subject.
We do.
Marriage
and we
is
love being
important to us as a
married.
couple. Yeah, we do. We happen to be a
Most
couple
days.
that love each other. Some folks don't. Challenges do arise, but love is absolutely the core of it. So,
and love is a choice.
Yeah.
Like you have to choose to love somebody. Because some days you really don't want to be around each other. But we like each other.
Everybody has those days.
Yeah.
You have days where you go to your neutral corner. We do that. It's like, I'm going to go do something. I'll be back later.
Right.
You go do something.
Right.
But
100%.
But that happens. But it doesn't define
But we
the
always
depth of the
come back
relationship.
and
Because we're friends. Mm-hmm. And probably one of the biggest things for us is, from the very first day that we met, we developed a really good friendship. And it was kind of the first thing we talked about a lot of stuff. We did a lot of talking about everything.
And I want to give some context on you guys meeting, because this is your second marriage.
It is.
That you guys had. So your first marriage, just to give audience context, your first marriage, how long did that last?
Well, first marriage, I mean, if you go to the official dates of, when everything was official, it was like 8-9 years, about 9 years or something like that.
Oh, you hung in there. That was okay. You went out swinging on that one. 8-9 years. That ain't no.
Yeah. So it's and like I said, it was one of those things where, and I think I mentioned this to you in just some conversation we were having. It was being young and inexperienced and not really a lot of things I probably didn't even really understand about myself. So just having to do some self-development and growth. And good person. I don't. It's not one of them things where I think blame anything on the ex-spouse, it's like it was her fault or something like that. It was just, I think a lot of it, probably for both of us, was a growth thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you had some kids with that marriage as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Had a son.
Got you. And then Jen, you were also married. How long?
Same thing. I think it was 11 years, actually.
Okay.
But I think Rod hit it. I think it was just a matter of growth and immaturity, and we had 2 kids. And so we blended our families together, and now we're much more mature, because it takes a lot of maturity to stay married. Maturity
yes,
is a key component to marriage. You have to be mature spiritually, mentally, and physically.
No doubt.
I mean, it just requires a lot of maturity. And I think when you don't have that maturity, you find yourself doing things that are selfish, or you don't think things through the way you would if you were mature. So we really worked on maturing ourselves and improving ourselves. So we use an acronym really throughout our marriage that we actually wrote down the other day that I think would be helpful to people. And we use the word Christ, and we take each letter and we relate it to the qualities that are needed to stay married. And the C is what? Commitment and communication.
Yeah,
We're
absolutely.
always communicating with each other. We're committed to one
Sometimes
another.
even when we don't feel like it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
It's
talking-
like, let's
it's like
talk
I
about
don't want to
it.
talk anymore, but you got
Right.
you kind of keep talking till you talk it out. You know, you get it. You flush it out.
I think
you know?
we were each other's therapists, honestly, seriously. Like
Yeah, no
there were
doubt,
probably
probably
times when we
sometime.
needed to go to therapy and we didn't, and we like, I was your therapist and you were my therapist.
Oh, yeah.
We made each other talk about a lot of stuff that we didn't want to talk about. And
No
when
doubt.
when Rod mentioned that he didn't really know himself very well through the first marriage, I think I helped him pull some things out of himself.
Oh, it's no
Just
doubt.
by sitting down, he's like,
You should
have been
actually
an
point
attorney.
things out to me. And I used to say, and on one hand, it would be frustrating. Because I was like, you're like always analyzing and telling me stuff that I do, and then I think about it. It's like,
Only
yeah,
because I wanted to help.
do that. You know, it's like, I never really put it into words, but what you just shared, yeah, you're right. I do a lot of that. Then I started
But that
looking
took
at it. I was
maturity,
like,
though,
I'm
right?
like, yeah, I do a lot of that.
That took maturity for him
Yeah,
to
no
say,
doubt, no doubt. It
you
did.
know what, I am doing that, and I need to stop doing that. And the same with me. I'm like, oh, tell me what I'm doing. We would have, and I'm probably going ahead of the conversation, but we would have year-end retreats where at the end of every year,
Yeah,
we'd have our own marriage retreat. It was just the two of us. And we would literally have an agenda of things that we wanted to talk about, and everything was open for conversation. Like, you couldn't judge me, I couldn't judge you, we couldn't be angry about any of
Yeah, it
of
was
the
a
topics.
neutral zone. If
Neutral
you bring
zone,
something
right?
up, you can't.
No judgment zone,
Yeah,
neutral
yeah.
zone, and I'm like, okay, what am I doing wrong? How can I do better? And we talked about sex, we talked about food, we
Mm-hmm.
talked about how we dress and where we live, and we talked about the kids.
How we
and,
communicate,
and how
what
we
you say,
communicate.
things you say,
Everything
things
was
I don't
on the
do.
table
Yeah.
for conversation. We would do this for 3 days. We'd go to the movies, we'd come back, we'd talk, what was the next thing on the agenda? And then we go to dinner, we come back, and we had a blast. We learned so much doing that.
The acronym, no, don't leave them hanging.
Well, I thought we were still on the C because I got a question about the C though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. About
So
the
the communication, was that a skill set that you guys brought into this marriage, or was that something that you had to develop along the way?
That's a very good question.
Definitely
right?
for me, it was developing.
Okay.
Because my background and environment was not one where I would say I was a great communicator. I mean, there's things I did well as it relates to business because that was kind of my thing. I was always into business. I could communicate very well in that space. But relationship, my communication was probably lacking severely. Yeah, I mean, as I look back on it later, years down the road and look back, I'm like, I was short there. And just probably a lot because it was never one of those things that was pulled out, conversation, someone talked to you and say, hey, you need to work on that, you know? And so, yeah, I think absolutely developed for me.
And all the time, it wasn't a matter of just, pointing out our shortcomings. It was just communicating, letting things out, and talking about how you felt about certain subjects. It could be anything. But if it was something heavy, it was like, okay, why do you feel that way? Let's unpack this. I'm a safe person for you to talk to. And as a wife, we have to be a safe place for our husbands to land. Because if we're not, they're going to find somebody to talk to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That is a safe place for them to talk to. So I had to be that safe place for him to talk to and not bring it back up later. You know how it was like, well, remember the time you said this? And,
Oh, yeah.
Right. I think a lot of men fear that. They kind of, they share something and get thrown back
and
at
you'll
them.
clam up like a,
100%.
'cause
And I
like, no,
knew
I'm not
that.
about to bring that up because I'm gonna hear it again. I mean, and
Right.
that's a reality, and I've experienced that.
Yeah.
I think we could probably all say we've experienced that at some point. Someone said, confide in me, tell me something, you tell them,
And
then
they use it
later
like
you
a
hear
switchblade.
it, and you're like, I can't believe you did
They
that.
weaponize it.
That's a relationship
Yeah,
destroyer.
yeah, that's
You
hard.
cannot do that.
And that's the opposite. We talk about that all the time about, actually creating a safe space. It's certain things you do and don't do. And that's like what you do to move away from creating a safe space. Like you create a space where I will not tell you certain things.
Yep.
You create a
Yeah,
space
you will.
where
It'll do the exact reverse. That's right.
the exact
100%.
reverse.
Yep.
And I did
Yep,
not
it
want
will.
that to happen. And so, because like I said, you're going to find somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
And neither one of us really did. And it was vice versa. Jim would tell me things sometime, and I would be like, some things I didn't want to hear. When we've had conversations.
Of course,
I was like,
yeah.
But and both ways, something on her side or something on my side. Might be something about me, might be something about her. But and I'm like, okay. But then when you got to process it, so I'm hearing it, I'm like, I'm not going to use it.
No, he never did.
I'm not going to use it.
Never did.
Because if you confided in me like that, like a friend, because that was our whole thing. We're like best friends, and we tell people that, and they're like, your wife can't be your best friend. No, really, seriously, it you know how you look forward to telling your best friend something. I look forward to telling her stuff. Now I realize over the years, it's like some stuff. It is kind of like right on the edge. I probably shouldn't say this.
Right.
Just, just because if someone else confided in me.
Yeah.
If we boys and you say, well, I'm going to tell you this. It might not be something I want to go back and tell her. You know what I'm saying?
No pillow talking.
Yeah.
No pillow talking.
But when you that close, and you figure out the levels in which you do it, you still, that's the person you talk to. So, but I got to a point over the years, I would start telling people, and including partners, I was like, don't tell me that if you want me to tell my wife.
Wow.
No, I would, because I could hear them going somewhere and like they get ready to tell me something about the relationship. I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. Just
Unless you want both of us to know.
Because I don't really want to I don't want to have that. And then when we see you guys and we're at dinner with you, and I just, no. Just, go get your therapist,
Yeah.
To be honest, I automatically assume that if I'm talking to somebody who's married, they already going like you talking to both of them.
It's a good assumption.
I just automatically assume
I do
that.
too, but some people
That's a
don't.
good assumption.
Yeah, I do too, but some people think,
Yeah.
if you got a partner and you and him have been friends for a long, long time, and he says, man, I'm going to tell you something in confidence. That's kind of like...
No, I get that. And see, trust me, because first of all, especially if I got a lady and my homeboy telling me all his dirt, them something I definitely won't want to tell my lady because now...
You win it.
Right. Oh, you with that?
You're a dirt supporter.
That's your man?
Right.
That's your man?
Yeah.
But look, let's get back to this hidden acronym before we never hear it. I know the audience probably like, what is this price?
Come on.
What's
Okay,
H?
so H, help.
Yeah.
You have to help each other. And we talked about this
Help
early
each
on,
other.
about the role of a woman being the helper for her man, for her husband, to help him carry out the role that God has given him, right?
Okay.
Very powerful role. We'll go into that a little deeper later. So help and honor. We have to honor one another and help one another.
And we both help and honor each
He
other.
helps
So
me a
it's-
lot.
yeah.
So Rod is a visionary. He's a leader. He's got great ideas, business mind. I love that. It's very exciting to me, very stimulating. I love that about him, and I'm happy to help him with it. But I've had my own ventures, right? I've created a skincare line. I'm a broker. I'm a real estate broker. I have my own entrepreneurship endeavors and stuff. But he has never ever, how do I say this? Never ever not helped me. He's always helped me, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and it's always encouraged me. So we have to be able to help one another carry out and fulfill that desire that you have to carry out your gifting in the earth realm.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because we all have it. We all have something that
Yeah.
we're supposed to do while we're here.
Right.
And we feel it and we know it. And as your mate should be that person to help you pull that out. Not be jealous of you, not try to squelch it, but say, well, talk to me about what is it you're feeling? What do you feel like you want to put your hand to? What do you feel like you're created to do? How can I help you do that? So that's one of the things we try to do. We try to help each other, and we honor one another. Like, I would never, in public, fight with him,
No.
or
We just wait till we get
dishonor
home.
him in any way.
Yeah, we just wait to be home.
Yeah. You wait till you shut that door,
Right.
and it's on.
Look,
You know what I'm saying?
look, we need to fight in private. But it's
And,
just,
and him the same with me. So honor. Right? Y'all good with that? You want me to go on to the next one?
The thing is, I want you to go through them quickly because I just got a bunch of questions.
No, absolutely. Let's
Okay, all
let's
right.
just run through all of them,
All
and then
right.
we'll come back because I do
All
have
right,
questions
so
about each
I
of
is
them.
improvement.
Yep.
Right?
Okay.
You have to honestly always be self-improving.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the moment you have breath in your body until you're gone, you should be improving yourself. And intimacy. Got to be intimate. There's got to be intimate times. I don't care how long you've been married. We've been married 23 years, and we're still
One of the
very
things that we
intimate
started
with
doing
one
in the very beginning, and being blended families too, one of the very first things we decided was we have a night that we hang out with the kids and we do family stuff, and there's a night that's our night. And the kids even knew. It's like, don't
mess with them.
Yeah, don't mess with
Right.
it. Don't call. Don't knock on the door. If we come back home early, we're still on our date night. Leave us alone. Don't, the door shut. Don't come. Don't knock on the door unless there's a fire in the house. Because we were going to have some time for us
Yeah.
to do whatever we wanted to do and have fun. And we always did that from the very beginning. We did that, and we still do it.
Still
and
do
the
it.
kids, our
Kids
children
are
are all
grown.
grown.
Yeah.
But we still, it's like we find ourselves on that night, which was usually Fridays. We'll
And the-
hang
and
out.
the-
We'll
and
say,
the-
let's go hang out. Let's
And
go
the
do
intimate
something.
things that got you together, you should still be doing and making them better. it's always about making it better.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Sex
Yeah.
should be better,
Right.
not getting worse. It should be getting better.
Just because
Right.
you get
Right.
older don't mean things get old.
Right.
Right. We look from what our audience is sharing with us. The sex is not getting better.
That's a big
Yeah.
problem.
That's a
Yeah.
huge
That's a
problem.
big
It can
problem.
be fixed though.
But you
Okay, okay.
and it's and that's usually attributed to some other stuff, and we'll get into that.
We'll
but
get
I
into
think
that.
We
Okay,
will. We
okay.
will.
So what letter am I on?
S.
yes, okay.
So-
That's it.
Support, which kind of goes back to help. We got to support one another and be selfless. Like, don't be selfish. Is
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
yeah.
Selflessness.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
put
Get
him
selfishness.
first.
Put the
each
selfishness,
other first.
get rid of it, yeah.
Don't be selfish. I hate selfish.
Yeah.
Selfish is just so ugly to me. It's just such a
Yeah.
bad spirit.
Yeah.
What letter am I on?
T.
All right, it's T. Teamwork. We do everything together. We're a team. We support one another. It goes back to that again.
First of all, we can do
And
the whole
being a
show on
team.
that.
Yeah.
Right,
'Cause those
right,
letters
right,
are-
right.
That was such a great act.
Yeah.
Like y'all came
Yeah.
up with that?
We did.
That's
One more
incredible.
letter,
That was good.
One more letter, one more,
We about
one
to
more
trademark
Y'all
word.
sure that one Chat GPT that came out with that? That's AI.
Now, ChatGPT might pick it up and take it from us.
They might. We got to trademark it fast.
Right.
We got to trademark
It
it.
actually came out of prayer and experience and stuff.
Yeah.
And the last word is time. You got to give it time. This is not going to happen overnight. When you first get married, there's things you got to work on. You have to
Yeah, you
give the
gotta put time
relationship
in.
time to improve.
Yeah.
And give each other time to grow, and
Look,
if you both want it, then
and
you'll get
sometimes
it.
we would tell each other things, and we knew, yeah. And sometimes it take even the time to like just reflect on it and like to chew on it, and even with that to come back and say, like 2 days later, like, yeah, you're right. You know, it's like I need a little time. Don't expect me to grab that like
Yeah.
today,
Instantly,
right? And I'm gonna jump up and
Yeah.
down. I'm so
Time
happy
to
about
mull
it.
it over.
But you know, I go away, you think about it. You know, you spend some time with yourself. You like, you know, and you go back through it, and you're like, yeah, that's true.
But what
you know, and
Rod
we'll
just
do
said-
that. But we would do that with each other, and she
Yeah.
would do it. You know, we both would do it. So like, I would say some things to her sometimes, and she would be like, you know, I don't do that, and both of us have said I don't do that, and then, but you go away, you can't help it, and you start thinking about it. You like, yeah,
He's right.
I do that. You
But
know?
that takes
Right.
maturity, right?
Right.
To walk away and say, let me think about this. Was I right or was I wrong? I was wrong.
yeah.
That's a mature
Then we apologize.
move. And
No,
then we apologize.
I'll come back and apologize. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm sorry. I was like,
It's
yeah,
hard.
I
though.
didn't know.
But the more you
I
do
didn't-
it, the easier it gets.
But
I can imagine.
And usually
it
my
some
thing
time.
was, and not an excuse, but you know, I knew I was jacked up. You know,
No, you weren't jacked up.
no. I mean, there's some things. It's like a childhood thing. You know, sometimes some things you get and you don't even know you got them. You know, you grow
So
up, you
true.
get habits, you get things you either you saw or you didn't see. Some things that you've seen or you didn't see, and those things had an impact, and you didn't know. You know, and
So
then
true.
later you meet someone and they're very good at articulating those particular issues and then lay them out in front of you. And I used to tell Jen, I said, you could have been a lawyer. Easily she could be a lawyer. I mean,
I don't know if that's good or bad.
well, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because I'm not saying lawyers are a bad thing, but I'm saying just her ability to like look at facts and dates and history and this, and no, you remember, but you said this then and that. I'm like,
I think he's taking shots right now. Blow the bell.
yeah,
He's right though.
but,
So
but,
like-
but she's very good, and it's like, and usually extremely accurate. And I'm like,
Women got a file cabinet in their mind.
Oh yeah, bunch of unresolved cases.
yeah. So
But
yeah,
you know,
she's
we
like,
use them to help. We really do. And I think
The good ones.
The good ones, yes, the good ones.
oh, they can break out a
I
bad
don't
one on
pull
you,
out the
too.
file cabinet and be like, you know, and shoot bullets at them
yeah.
or anything. It's like, okay, wait, let's go back to where we started. You know, let's go back to the beginning of this conversation and figure out how we got to where we are. That kind of thing. You
Okay.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think the thing we have to remember in any relationship, people come from two different worlds. When you meet somebody, they've come from an upbringing that wasn't like yours.
Yeah.
They've come from mindsets that weren't like yours. You know, their parents weren't like your parents, so they have different ways of thinking, and
No
then you
doubt.
come together.
Yeah.
And then you expect that thing to be like magical from the beginning. And it can be, but there's work that has to be done to mold and become one.
Yeah.
Because the Bible
Yeah.
says the two of you should join together and become one flesh. And that takes some work to do, and you have to be mature enough, and you have to want it enough and do the work to make that happen.
No
and it
doubt.
is so worth it.
So you know what?
Yeah,
What I
no
want to do
doubt.
is I want to go back to the acronym, because we kind of we started jumping at the H
Okay.
to kind of run through it. So
Right.
let's actually start there,
Okay.
because you said we talked about this a little bit before. You said the H, talking about helping each other. You guys helping one another, but even before, you actually even claimed and owned the role as a helpmate in your relationship, which in 2023 is a dirty word.
Right.
The helpmate,
Offensive.
the helpmate is the
Wow.
is the second runner up.
Wow.
It's the person who is the follower, not the leader. The person who is almost looked at as the one who is not as good enough in the relationship.
Yeah.
But give me some insight on how you actually see the helpmate and that role to be in the
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah, what is
That's
it?
a good question. And, you
Yeah.
know, we take everything back to the Word, right? So we're strong believers. And God said in His Word that it was not good for man to be alone. He was going to
Absolutely.
bring him a helper. He was going to bring him a helpmeet. What women need to realize is we're extremely powerful people, which is why God sent us to help. And He even uses that word for Himself. The Holy Spirit is called a helper.
That's right.
And we don't see Him as being weak, or
Right.
less than,
No.
right? We see Him
No.
as being extremely powerful, which is what we are. I mean, let's face it, there would be no people if it weren't for women.
I'm going to add something in right there before you say, because you have to remember that he said it would be expedient or better for him to leave so that he could send
Yeah, the Holy Spirit.
the Holy Spirit, which was the helper.
Yeah.
So it's better for him to leave and let the helper come. So it's something very
100%.
significant about,
It's a powerful
about the whole
role. And it's
conversation of the helper.
unfortunate that it is looked at as being less than, because actually it's either equal to or even more powerful than the person that you're helping. Because how can you help somebody if you don't know what they know even more than they know? And that's
Right.
the role that we have. It's so incredibly powerful, and I love it. A man really can't carry out what God has called him to do without a woman in his life.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really?
It's so powerful.
True statement.
100%.
So
And
me and
you've heard
Tyshawn now
people
we
say,
single now. So
But it's coming.
For
Because,
you
see,
to
there's-
get to where
because-
God has called you to be, you need her.
wow.
But let's
100%.
Can't do it with side chicks?
But let's clear. Side chicks don't qualify. but here, I think here's the significance, though. See, you would know that the Lord would want for all of us to reach, our highest level, right?
Right.
So it doesn't mean that you're not excelling. It doesn't mean that you're not going to go high. But if you want to go to the ultimate, if you want to
Yes.
really achieve that goal in the way that we believe that God has ordained for it to be, then you would have a helper.
Yeah.
Okay, and y'all would join and become one, and there's power in two.
So powerful.
There's power being a couple and being a team. There's so many more things you get being two of you. Think about you and your wife praying versus just you praying.
It's gonna be more powerful.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
The word
Yeah.
says it.
Yeah.
Stronger
Us-
signal.
Yeah.
Us
Yes.
coming together.
Shit,
Yeah.
4G.
Right.
One can put 1,000 to flight, two can put
10,000.
10,000 to
So
flight.
Wow.
I automatically got my 10,000 partner
Let's go,
here
let's go.
to make something
Yeah.
happen when I come back and I'm like, this is not going well.
Right.
Look, well, the first thing we need to pray about it.
Right.
Let's pray. Okay, but then we will start working on it jointly to deal with whatever the issue is. I don't separately, I'm going to go and sit in the car and cry. It's like, no, whatever the issue is, we're going to talk about it, then we're going to figure out a way, and then we're going to pray about it, and then we're going to put our efforts together. And same thing for her. You bring something to me, we're going to fix it. I mean, whether it be something happen at work, whether it be something happen with someone else, whatever it is, we're a team.
I like me personally. I desire somebody who's willing to embrace the role of a helpmate. So I
Wow.
think that's really attractive.
Wow.
And we got all kind of people, that's tuning in right now. So we got the singles, we got the people in long-term relationships, we got the married people. So I want to really, ask a question for the single people and go back to the selection process.
Okay.
Specifically, I'm gonna start with you, Rod. Because both of y'all are successful, real estate owners, entrepreneurs, investors, and now educators. So you know business, and it sounds like you always been about business.
Always.
Now you had this first divorce, right? I'm assuming that was bad for business.
Well-
So okay. So after you experienced that, I mean, how did you get the courage, or what made you still want to go out and seek a wife even after experiencing the first divorce?
Well, and if we be transparent,
Okay.
Obviously when stuff happens and you go through that, because anybody's been through any kind of relationship thing where there's a breakup, look, it's painful. And it's not something you want to do. It doesn't feel good. And even if you know you need to do it, it's just a rough time. It's a rough space to be in. But the reality is it would be worse to be with someone and stay with them for like an extended period of time when you know for an absolute fact it's not right. Okay? And we're not advocates of divorce or any of that. We're advocates for marriage and being great relationships. But the truth is we all make mistakes. And thank God doesn't hold that against us, because
Right.
I made some mistakes. And then when I realized that the mistakes I made was like this was counterproductive to me reaching my highest height. Okay, and I would say that what was it hurtful to business? It didn't help, because whenever you got that much pressure and weight on you, you figure you're trying to do your everyday activities in business, but at the same time you got lawyer, you got things to split, you got children, it's rough, and and it's not a good time. But the reality for me was, I knew it was the right step, and I knew I had made a mistake.
Okay. And Jen, with you also experiencing your divorce, okay, how does a woman know what type of man to potentially align herself with?
Such a good question, and it's so important. We said this before. If a man doesn't really know what he's being called to do, what his purpose is in the earth, he will meander around and not really have a vision, and not really have a goal that he's aiming for. And you can just ask him, what are you called to do? What are you here to do? What is your purpose in life? Where are we going? And if he can't answer you, he doesn't know. And then you have to make the choice: do I want to jump in now, or do I want to wait till he knows where he's going? Because you're not going to just drive me around anywhere. And you've heard people say, behind every successful man is a strong woman. I'd like to shift some paradigms with that. It's beside every strong man is a strong woman, beside him, because God took her out of his rib. That's on your side. It's not in your back. He didn't take us out of the backbone. So we're not behind you. We're right beside you. So if he can't make it clear to her where he's going, don't get in the car with him. He's not ready. He's not ready to be a husband. He's not ready to be a father. So that would be my answer: is make certain that he knows what he is called to do.
That's actually, man, that's, first of all, great, beautiful, actually, answer. I want to ask you this, too, because recently, yesterday, I can't make this up, one of my very close friends got served divorce papers yesterday.
Yeah.
And I had a call with him for like 2 hours today. Spoke to him for quite some time, really out of curiosity, because I didn't get really a fighter spirit at that point. Like, it was like he was just ready to go ahead. He reached out to me for an attorney, and we started moving forward. But I asked him, I said, how do you know that this is something you should move forward with, and you shouldn't be looking to actually fight this?
Right.
And he actually gave me a really great answer. He said, Taj, literally it's because I don't want to work to fight. Well, I'm sorry. I don't want to, actually that is what he said. I don't want to put the work in to keep it.
Oh, wow.
He actually even made the statement to say, man, I got married so young that I feel like I don't really have an identity. I haven't explored. I feel like I don't know myself. So my question to you, because I feel like you said a bit of that too, when we were talking prior about your first marriage. You got married so young. You didn't even know who you were. You didn't even know what was really going on with yourself. So you weren't ready to find a partner to take the ride with. And I think that's so interesting, because it's like, it's a delicate balance of figuring out who you are and exploring and not staying there too long, where now you're just playing and you don't want to be serious and actually get a partner to get to the next level. So what is like that delicate balance? How do you know when you're done with the exploration and you have enough identity, you're not overlearning yourself, and you actually ready to move forward? How would you say, how can a man identify that?
Well, I think for me, and this was my personal journey, I mean, realizing that my emotional intelligence and my spiritual intelligence had not really elevated where I probably thought it was. There were things I didn't have control over. One perfect example, anger. There was a period of time in my life where, I got angry quick, and maybe there was some circumstances even behind that, but just not able to control things, like just pop off. You know what I mean? Say things.
Which I can't even see that now. He's
I can't.
just so cool.
So chill.
She would tell you.
Wow.
Because even early on for us, it was still some there. And it was not like I'm every day. You know what I mean? But then certain triggers, certain things, and then start realizing, like, you can't live life letting people trigger you. It's like you emotionally you got to mature. You got to tighten up. I got kids. I got wife. I got responsibility. I got business. I can't go in and kirk out on somebody, and be that guy. You know what I'm saying? So I start looking at some me things. I'm like, okay, you need to work on that. And I had to really, really assess that. And then spiritually, one of the things for us is, look, we're Christ-centered. Our relationship and who we are, that was something I started working on before I met her.
Good.
Before we met, I was already on that journey to not be that guy, the weed smoking, liquor drinking, partying, all the stuff I did at a stage in my life, and was counterproductive to me spiritually growing. And so I was on that journey, which is actually part of the way we met. And I was already way into the process of that. I'm like, I got to fix all this stuff. I can't live like this. I can't do certain things. That's not the guy I want to be. It's not the father I want to be. Yeah. It's not if somebody say a friend or talk about me, mention my name. I'm not the dude I want you to be talking about that way. So I worked on all that. And then in working on all that, I got better. I matured in those areas so I could actually be a better dude to be in a relationship with someone. So then I said this, and I've given a lot of credit where the credit's due. See, there's two key components for me that made a shift for me, this brother, and that was, one was Jesus, and that was making a decision for that, and two was Jen. And see, the part was she completed some stuff. See, I had some stuff worked out and kind of figured out and it got much better, but I still needed the Helpmate that was the right one for me. And then when I started figuring out, I'm like, she's the one, and that's, and it came together for me that way. So I realized it, and I'm like, and thank God, she realized, she was like, I guess, was feeling the same thing back. I'm like, I'm glad this is working this way, because I wouldn't want to dump all this out, and she'd be like, nah, I ain't feeling it.
Right.
But yeah, but that was like the trigger for me. It was like, I knew those two pieces. I got the spiritual life straight. Okay, I knew there was things I already had to do. It wasn't about me meeting her then doing it.
Yeah.
I had already made a commitment to do it. And then, of course, which is the way the Lord works things out for you, He'll connect you with the right individual. And if you're both in that place where you mature, you know.
So you found Jesus and He gave you Jen.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I get it.
Yeah. But that was really, the backstory to the beginning of us like making the thing really tight, the tight relationship, tight communication, being transparent, being friends, which we were. We would do things. When I met her, I was like, it's something as simple as like, let's go get a steak and cheese, And a lot of people,
I was like, yeah.
And then not eat it like with a knife and fork. I'm like pick it up, like grab it, To me, I was like, okay, that's cool. She real, It's like, she cute, but she real. You know what I'm saying? There was little mayonnaise get on here, it's just, wipe it. I just
talking about my tool belt.
Yeah. Hey, and then that was the other thing. Part of I own a construction company, but part of the other thing was I go to a job site. I was like, what are you going to do? I'm going to do this. I'll go with you. It's like, I'm going to demo this bathroom. Come in there, get a hammer, get some stuff, put some jeans on, and do some work. So we've done that kind of stuff. So
I want to get some clarity on that. So you were already in real estate prior to you guys meeting?
I owned a construction company.
Got it.
My business was, I did a lot of residential real estate. As a matter of fact, I renovated one of her houses before we were married. And I put the extra juice on it. I fixed. I put like nice stuff in there, extra stuff she didn't pay.
Oh, that's when you knew. That's when you knew. You knew that was about to be your husband.
Right. Yeah, I pimped it out. I was like, I fixed some stuff, did some things, but yeah, worked on her townhouse she owned, and that was kind of one of the first things where I did some work for her. But yeah, I was doing that already. So when we met, and then she had a real estate license and had done a lot of other things with doing some working in corporate America. But yeah, so both had some backgrounds that kind of, where we found out later, was a perfect match too. It's like this, unlike what I had previously, I was like, this actually works and fits really well.
Do you think that's ideal, Jen? Do you think that's ideal for a woman to be able to work alongside her spouse?
100%.
Okay.
And we talked about the Proverbs 31 woman. I don't, and going back to, let me shift gears a little bit. Going back to something you said, Ty, earlier about your friend feeling like were lost, along the way. And that can happen, right? Because if you're not helping one another pull out of you, if you don't care enough about each other, to pull out what it is you're called to do.
Yeah.
And making certain that you help them bring that to pass, it can lead to frustration, and it can
Yeah, no
lead to
doubt.
you getting lost in the midst of everything. And so while I'm helping him, it doesn't mean that I can't do what it is I want to do too. You know, you can do both. It doesn't mean I'm going to help him, now I'm not going to be able to do anything. I'm just going to be sitting over here and waiting for him to give me orders and tell me what to do. No, it's not that at all.
Right.
It's that God gives you a vision as a family, as a couple, and it comes from, you know, him saying, this is what I feel like God has called me to do. And I'm like, okay, this is how I can fit into that. Now, my gift and my calling, I'm a teacher by nature. I've never, you know, professionally taught in a classroom. But spiritually, my gift is teaching. But more importantly, my gift is motivating and inspiring. So I would love to motivate and inspire people. If I could do that all day, that's what I would do. I'd be on stage just motivating and inspiring people. And Rod likes to do the same thing. So we've been on stage a lot together, teaching people, preaching, or whatever was necessary at the time. And we would do it together, but it allowed me to express the call that I have as well. So it wasn't getting squelched and it wasn't getting lost, because if it does get squelched and lost in the sauce of everything else, then you can become resentful. It's like, okay,
Yep.
you're doing everything you
Yeah.
want to do. I'm not doing anything I want to do. But he cared enough about me to say, okay, you know, is this good for you? Like, are you
Yeah, I
feeling
mean,
like,
one of the
yeah.
things that I always did was when she would share with me like, this is just in the core of who I am. This is, I know this is something that, you know, I'm supposed to do. And I used to always tell her, I was like, look, there's no way God would connect us and then you are assisting me and you don't get what you want.
Right.
See, it's because it doesn't work that way.
Right.
So if we kind of lean in and we work it through, and I said this from the beginning. I said, everything you want to do, whether you see it or not, it's in what we're doing. It's not about doing it through me or you got to do it behind me. You'll do it through what we're doing. It'll work, and you will actually step right into it. And actually, in more cases than not, that's exactly what's happened with a lot of things we've done. I mean, we've been places and people will come up and say, well, hey, I'm doing a women's group or I'm doing this or something. Will you come? Yeah, it's not like both of us coming. You know,
Right.
but it was because we were there. So we're there. Someone sees her and they say to her, can you attach to this? And vice versa for me. There's been something where someone would say, hey, I'm doing a business thing. Hey, will you come over here? And I know you like love business. It's not that she doesn't. And then they'll say to me, will you, absolutely. So even though we do what we do together, we still can absolutely at the same time walk into those paths of doing the things that we're really passionate about. I mean, because I can sit around, the same way she can teach, I can sit around and talk, I can talk about business for like 14 hours straight. I'm serious, we can just get into it, and because I enjoy it.
Right.
Okay, and so when you get to do something you enjoy, it's not work, really. Because you just really get into it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's happened with us getting into doing business together and then helping couples and families and the things that are important. Because for a young kid like myself to come from a situation where you didn't have a lot, where you were basically poor, and you saw a lot of just poverty, one of the predominant thoughts I've had in my mind, even from a kid, was this broke thing, it ain't no joke and it ain't no fun. Okay? And it's not a place that I plan on living in life. It's not a place I plan on residing. So anything I need to do to not be in that place, that's what I'm doing. And so that's the driving motivation, whether anybody else helped or not. And then to get somebody that ties in with you, like, let's do it. And it's not that you have to work harder to achieve anything, but you can't deny that hard work's required from time to time for some things. And we've had situations where we've worked extremely hard for an extended period of time, but there was an end goal. We were not like, we're going to work like
So
this
true.
for the next 60 years, but it's like, if we need to do this for 6 weeks or 6 months or whatever it is, let's roll it up, let's do it. And then at the end of it, you sit back and you're like, wow.
Let's go on vacation.
Yeah, this is good.
I think one of the biggest things that many women fear about being a helpmate and why that's so offensive is because they do think, like you said, they have to take a back seat and they'll have to sacrifice some level of personal gain and growth to serve in this role. So it sounds like that's just not the current situation for
No,
y'all.
because if you love one another, then you're going to make certain that that's not happening.
Yeah.
If a man loves his wife, then he's going to say, honey, what is it that you want to do? How can we make that happen? Because you're not being selfish, right? Going back to our our words. You're going to make certain that she's being fulfilled. In Proverbs 31, it talks about the Proverbs 31 woman, and she was a powerful girl. She was a powerful, powerful woman. And she was a businesswoman, but she took care of her household. She bought organic food. Her husband trusted in her. And it goes on. Let me start from the beginning if I can remember it. It was actually written by a mother for her son, who was a king. And she said, let me tell you how to look for a wife. Y'all ready to hear this? And she said to him, first of all, don't give your strength to women. Like, what does that mean? And this is not a wife she's talking about. She's just talking about women. Don't give your money, yourself, your essence, your who you are to women, because that has brought kings down. This is how powerful women are. We have the ability to bring down kings. And this woman knew that. She's like, so be careful, son. Like, don't give your strength to just any old woman, right? Because she can bring you down, right? If she doesn't have your best interest at heart. But then she goes on to say, but who can find a virtuous woman? Her price is far above rubies. And she goes on to talk about the qualities of this woman. And this woman, her husband, it goes on to say her husband trusted in her, and he had no need to think that there was going to be anything that would spoil. In other words, he was like, she's taking care of the household. Right. She's not wasteful. I ain't got to come home and stuff is just like all jacked up and money is run through and it's not being used for what we had designed for it to be used. Right. She's wise with her spending. Not only that, she goes out into the field and purchases real estate. So she's a real estate investor, right? So she's not getting lost in him. She's still able to carry out business and do which we're the type of creatures that can do a lot. So if I'm helping him, it doesn't mean that I'm just going to sit here and wait. While I'm helping him, I can do my thing too. Take care of the kids to make certain that the kids are getting what they need, and they're grown now. And praise God that hopefully we put something in them. But she also bought organic food. She bought clothing, or she bought material and made clothing out of it. She had a maid. I mean, she was just on it. That's the kind of wife that this king's mother was telling him to look for. It's a virtuous woman that you want to look for, but that takes maturity. Because when you feel insecure or you feel like you're being slighted in any way, you will lash out. And when we lash out, it is not pretty.
Right.
and there's another piece to this. See, there's like a movement to get men and women to believe in things that are not true. Okay? So true. And like to get women to believe that somebody saying they're a helper means they're subservient or less than.
Right.
It doesn't mean that. And also to get men to believe that that's what they are. Because you got men that's like, oh, you're supposed to be my helper. Dude, that's not what it says.
right.
You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, so the men distorted it, and then the women have it distorted, and so it's being thought about the wrong way. And then, look, anything that you're doing, I don't care what it is. If it's anything, especially if it's something that's like physical or something that's better with two, almost everything is better working with two people working together on it.
I can agree with that.
That's better than one. Almost everything, okay? And maybe there's some rare thing that's not, but even with that, if you dig into it deep enough, I'm sure it'd be better if you put some help with it. So having a help, that is not a bad word. Helper is not bad. Helper is necessary, and part of the big problem probably a lot of men have is, and that's the same thing they do when they get an ego and pride. It's like, I don't need nobody to help me,
or you better help me.
Or what's I'm saying. So either way,
right?
You know what I'm saying? It can be a bad thing because if you spin it wrong, and I think that's what happens with so many things, including scripture. It's a lot of times it's the wrong spin.
Yeah.
It's not really what it means.
And see, I think also we just also are inundated with seeing bad examples as well. So we hearing it the wrong way. It's not being expressed properly, and we seeing it. Because what I would say, it is a bad thing to be a helpmate if you choose to help the wrong man. So
do the wrong thing.
Right. So
exactly.
In that case, you also got to make sure it's like if I'm a talented person, I'm talented as hell, and I want to take my talents to the right company or corporation. I better choose the right company to bring all of my talents, my vision, my effort, my creativity, my energy to. They'll embrace me. They'll support me. They'll give me leadership. They'll give me resources. I'll get better in there. I'll rise. I'll grow. I'll leave, if I ever leave, better than I came. Whereas if I go to a bad organization, I'll probably become clinically depressed.
So
And
true.
the thing about it is, just as shout out to the mom that put the son on game to choose a virtuous woman,
Yeah.
we got to have a formula
Yeah.
to choosing that virtuous man.
I'm
So
telling you guys, everything is in the Bible.
Yeah.
It's in
There's
there.
no
All
doubt.
these secrets and nuggets
Yep.
are in there. I mean, even to the point where when Eve brought that apple, this is my understanding in my mind, the reason he ate it wasn't because he was so weak and he was like, whatever. He knew that God sent her here to help him. The role that she had was equally as powerful, if not more
Yeah,
so.
no doubt.
She knew what was like, what would be done, and how things should, and she knew the future of mankind and all these things. And Adam knew that she did. He knew how smart she was. So when she brought it to him, he's like, okay, I guess I'm supposed to eat this because you're my help. You know a lot of stuff.
You're not
You're
gonna give me
smart.
something
You're not
bad,
going to give
right?
me something bad. I trust you. So he ate it. But then after that, we all know what happened. But even with that, the Bible goes on to talk about how the devil hates us. He don't like y'all, but he
course he
hates
does.
us. He hates women. He hates us.
really,
Oh gosh.
why is that?
He
Why-
because
specifically women?
Specifically
Seed
women. He
carrier.
hates us.
Wow.
Right. We're the ones that are carrying the seed. We're birthing
We
people
can't
into
have
the
children.
earth that are going
Right.
to carry out
Wow.
God's plan in the earth. He hates us. So he's always attacking us and coming after us, which is why we need y'all to cover us.
Because y'all putting out more enemies for the devil. The woman is able to have more people that can have the ability to do the right thing.
And so when the
And-
Bible
and the
calls us
assign-
the weaker vessels, it doesn't mean that we're weaker as in weak. It means we're weaker as in we need that covering from you guys. We need y'all to cover us. So a woman needs us. We need that covering because we're so powerful and we know the enemy is always coming after us.
And if we don't forget what the mandate was, it was to be fruitful and to multiply and to replenish.
Mm-hmm.
So Adam and Eve were there to replenish. That was just to replenish with all things that were good,
Mm-hmm.
to include offspring. Okay, Adam couldn't. That's why God made him a woman. He can't. He couldn't. He had no kids by himself.
right.
Okay, so he brought him a helpmeet, which was a woman, taken out of his rib, created her in the image of him. He made it perfect. He said, I'm gonna make it exactly what you like. Make perfect what he knew man would like. And then knew that wouldn't be a problem with replenishing because you're gonna look at it and be like, I like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So replenishing gonna be easy. And then you go about that business of doing it. And then you cover her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She helps
Exactly.
you cover her.
Yeah.
And see, and part of what I think has got split and missed and messed up is just that whole process, what roles are, and you talk about how you find like a good woman and things like that. But you're right, all of it is it's scripturally based, really. If you really look at the selection process, what you do, how you do it, the things you do, right? It's kind of like I said when I met Jen and I saw her, I was like, she's not like most women I've seen. You know, I'm like, just something different.
She's weird.
You know?
No, I'm just kidding.
No, it was just like, seriously, it was just like, I'm like, even not looking, not like saying, okay, I'm gonna go look and find somebody. Not right at that moment. But then to connect, I'm like, something different. And I didn't know exactly what was different, but I knew something was different. And then as it kind of unfolded, I'm like, okay, I'm starting to see all the things I've not really seen before. You know, stuff I was like, okay, I've seen other people, I've had other women, I've had other relationships, and I'm like, no, they're not like her.
It's different.
Yeah, she different. You
And I
know?
think a man feels that, when he kind of runs in.
Yeah, I think you
The
do.
right one.
I think
Yeah.
you do, and you do, and I think, and then sometimes I think we're a little like, I better not say nothing too fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You know what I'm
You
saying?
always
I
talk
gotta
yourself like, hold on. No.
Just
no,
don't miss
no.
it.
Be
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Be
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Don't go running off
Let's see
too
if
quick.
it keep going. Let's see how long she keep this up. Let's see how long she can keep this
Make
up.
sure it ain't
That's a
trying to.
good point, though.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. I have to write some stuff down. I have so much stuff going in my mind right now, but that's a good point. Sometimes, you'll find people that'll hold it up until they get married.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then the tail comes.
Pull the
soaring
rug right up
out.
under you.
The thing is, we hear about that, and I'm just like, is that really possible? Is it really possible somebody
Sure
that
it is.
they really?
Yeah. Yeah. But
Absolutely.
actually, I think both sides really.
Sure.
I think both ways.
Is that because the marriage is the end goal for them? Just actually the wedding? Okay.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and maybe who knows? They grew up with a vision of that in their mind. I gotta do this. I gotta do this by X date. Or who knows
Yeah,
why?
who knows why,
Certain
but yeah.
reasons why people do.
Yeah,
what
you
they
can
do.
hold up anything for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you say? Like, what do you say to that? Like, is there any way
Don't
to
do it.
prevent? Is there any way to prevent you being with somebody who is putting on a front? Like, is it?
Well, we talked about this before. The courtship, the dating needs to be a long period of time because you can't hold it up
What's
for
long?
so long.
What's long?
I mean, it could be a year, 2, 3. I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
But that's something you got to pray about. But it should be a long time. But it's not just with you, right? It should be your family members should know them,
Yeah.
your friends,
Yeah.
because you can't keep
they-
holding
they get
something up.
vetted.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
Right.
you
They'll get vetted out because what
yeah.
happened is, especially people that are close to you and know you.
Yeah.
Not that you can take everybody else's opinion and be like, okay, I'm not going to date her anymore, but they'll start pointing out stuff too. If people see, for us, one of the absolute most important things to Jen and I both is, if you meet us 5 days from now, 5 months from now, 5 years from now, we don't change.
Nope.
I absolutely, she'll tell you, my personality, who I am, I was never anything
Well,
else.
improve.
I got better, but I'm still the same dude. So I didn't
Yeah.
I did a few things so she would think I'm Mr. House man or something. I've never cleaned up well. It's not one of my strong suits. I was a little messy. I got better, okay? But I didn't come in and say, I'm gonna clean up all my stuff really good. So when she sees it, she thinks I'm like this super neat guy. I wasn't a super neat guy.
Got you.
But I mean, I wasn't filthy. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm sure that would have been like, nah, I don't like this. But I mean, you be who you are.
Yeah.
And then
100%.
the person sees it. So you can come over, you can see what I am, you can see what I do, you can see how I am around
And
other
I
people,
think that's
around my
hard,
family,
right?
around my kid.
Yeah.
I'm just, I don't really change. I stay
Yeah.
the same. And the same for her. She was like, this is like who she is. And that's really authentic. And some people aren't authentic. They
Yeah.
they
Authenticity
put
is very powerful. Being authentic. What you see right here is what you'll see at home. If you followed us home today,
Yeah,
you would see the same
Same thing.
No, we
same
don't
two
change.
people.
I can see
I was
that.
saying, I think it's a little tricky and maybe a little hard today because of social media and the image that we want to portray
yeah.
on the screen.
Right.
And for the gram or for whatever YouTube,
Yeah.
we put our best foot forward or even beyond our best foot. And it's easy to do that for a clip, for a moment, for 8 minutes. But then when you go home, is that really who you are? And that's what you got to find out when you're dating somebody.
And some of this is probably really, now as you say that, some of this is probably what's changed it, just the times that we're in.
Yeah.
Because everybody's always putting on the best. Like, I gotta fix my makeup, my hair, don't take any pictures of me. That whole, and so you never look bad. I'm like, everybody gets up and face is all crinkled. And,
Right.
everybody got
It's
a
life.
bad look.
Right.
The most
We're
beautiful
human.
person,
Yeah.
has a day, and they look at themselves. I'm like, I look busted.
We laugh at each other
It's
sometimes.
like,
He was
I need
like,
a haircut.
one day he woke up and he looked and he said, babe, I looked in the mirror. I look horrible.
Yeah, I was like, my
no,
face
you
is
don't.
smashed. I'm like,
And I
oh,
do the
God,
same
I
thing.
need some
you know?
sleep or something. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But that's real though. And you want to know you can be that and see that.
Yeah.
And not be, like one of the preachers said, got fake everything. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
It's like,
But I think another key to marriage, and I'm going to share this with you guys, is the Bible says that you should leave and cleave. Like leave your family, leave your mother and your father, and cleave to your wife. And oftentimes we're married and there's other people in there.
What does that mean? What does that mean, cleave to your wife?
That, like, leave all the other stuff behind.
Okay.
All the other ties, all the other connection, all the other
Right.
voices,
Got you.
all the other opinions, once you guys get married, you have to cleave one to
so
another.
mama doesn't supersede your wife.
Right.
And daddy doesn't supersede your husband.
So it's a new pecking order in town.
Hey,
100%.
Look, but see, when dad gives this woman to be married, and when you
It's so true.
you give. Now that's your woman. That ain't his woman.
Got it.
Okay. I'm a daddy's girl. Well, now you my girl. You see what I'm saying? So what daddy might have done, I cover and do. Not that mean you don't mean don't love your dad.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you don't have a
It
relationship.
just mean I'm your daddy now.
Yeah, right.
That's what it means.
doesn't mean you don't have relationships with your
It
family.
doesn't change the fact that you love your dad or your mom.
Sure.
But that's a different relationship once you have your wife. That's all. Your husband.
Now, earlier, Jen, you mentioned this helpmate role. You talked about the different things that you're doing within the helpmate role, which I think is a lot. I didn't even think about the helpmate role also helping, because in my initial thought before you spoke about it, I'm thinking helpmate as in just the household. But now you're saying that you also a helpmate in this business financial realm as well. So I have a question for you, Rod. Is that not a lot to put on a woman? Because I'm assuming she has to. Because this is where I look at it. Yeah. If I got a teammate in business, I want her or him to be a dog. Like, I want everything hard negotiation, hard, very aggressive. But then when I'm thinking about how I want my woman in the house, I'm thinking soft, just very nurturing, lovely. So is that too much to put on a woman, too much to ask for a woman, you think?
Well, I don't personally think so. Here's what I've seen, and here's what I realize. Sometimes I'll know when Jen talked about covering. There's sometimes when I'll tell her, I'll say, baby, I got it. Don't worry about it. I got this. Not that I'm like keeping you out, but like if I sense, she's probably a little bit tired, you might be a little bit worn down. I'm like, I ain't worn down. I got this. I'll take care of it. Okay, you be cool. Go do this, do that, whatever. I'll let you know what's going down. But I got it, and she know I got it. If I say I got it, I got it. Okay. Now, but there's other times where I'll say, this is one of them situations we need to deal with this. And we go in there, and then she's like, well, look, we do like you say, when it's one situation, we see you got to man up. It's like, we do that together. It's like, no, we're going to handle this. So we go handle it. And there's times we do that together. There's sometimes I'll say, no, I'll take care of this. You chill, do what you need to do, relax, don't worry about it. And my primary goal is when I say don't worry about it, I got it, okay? And then she trusts that. And 99.9% of the time, nothing changed. I go, I take care of it, and that's it. It's the end of it. So we have that relationship and that trust. So we know when there's like a time when maybe she do need a break, And I think what you might be talking about is, maybe she can't go as hard as me all the time with all things. And probably with what I'm called to do, I know she can.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? But I know that about my lady. I know when it's like, okay, that's too much. I'm not doing that. And I don't feel like she kind of left me hanging. It's just like she always got my back. But I'm built a little different. So stuff I can do and do for the duration of time I do it for, she's seen it. I mean, I can go, So she doesn't worry about me going out and then overextending. She knows what my limits are too. And when I get tired, I pull back.
See, so I really like that. And from what it sounds, because Jen, you sound very similar to one of my best friends, his mom. And she's really like one of the only few women that I've seen that can literally do both. Like, she'll go out. She's a very successful realtor. She go out. She's doing numbers when it comes to sales. Yeah. But when I see her in the house, it's just like, it's hard for me to believe that she even is capable of doing business.
Wow.
And I just, because I haven't seen it so often, I'm just curious from your opinion. Do you think that all women can do that? Or do you think some women are just meant to play the business help role and some women are meant to play the house help role?
I think you're right. I think, because it's not a one answer fits all. It really isn't. Everybody's different. And everyone, and I can think of couples off the top of my head where the wife loves being at home. Yeah. And she loves taking care of the home, and the husband's okay with that. So it's really based on the couple and what you guys agree to, and your personalities and your gifts and your callings. Right. I had one woman I was talking to once that her husband's a pastor, and she's involved at the church and all this, and she's the first lady and all. But she wasn't really in the front, right? She wasn't. We had very different personalities. Like, Rod said, let's go, I'm going, let's go. That's just me, you know what I mean? And I don't expect every woman to be like this. She's very much that way. And we had a conversation once because I felt like she was getting lost, right? Because she felt like she needed to be that aggressive woman or that woman that's in the front. And that's not who she was. And I said, well, talk to me about what you like and what you enjoy. And it turned out that she loved family. She loved being there with her children and creating a family atmosphere and all this. And I said, you know what, that's needed.
Yeah, no doubt.
We need somebody to teach us how to be a family. I said, how about you write some workbooks or, because I'm always going all the way to the end. I'm like, let's take this somewhere,
How about you be great?
Yeah. Pretty much, that's what I would do. Because I think everybody is. And I think everybody can be within the call and the gifting that God has given you. There is greatness. I don't care what it is. And so as she began to tell me what she liked, and I said, don't belittle that. Don't look down at that. You probably have a real gift and talent and some information that we need on how to raise our children better. How to prepare them to be adults, how to prepare meals at home in a way that's organized and easy for us. So there's a
people don't
gift and a
think about.
call and
Yeah.
power in every single gifting. And it just got her to totally shift the way she was thinking. You're not like that woman over there, but you are you, and you need to figure out what God called you to be and how you're supposed to help your husband. So everything is different. And so your concern is you want your woman to be soft when she gets home, whatever.
Right.
And doesn't mean that she can't do both. Just like you mentioned the other lady,
Yeah.
she could probably do business and still help
Yeah,
you and be soft
absolutely.
and all those things.
Yeah.
But she may not, you may not want that, and she may not want that. But whatever you guys agree to,
Yeah.
and you feel like you're getting the help that you need to propel forward to what God has called you to do, then that's what you do.
Yeah, I
And
think
it
That makes
works.
sense.
And I think it clicks. I think I really believe this. I think when you start seeing it come together, you recognize it. You start
Yeah,
seeing
you get
different
your
stuff.
flow.
You like this is not quite what I've seen, and it'll start like clicking, and coming, and you'll know.
Oh, yeah.
And
It'll
just
come
like you know when it's not.
And you
you're
talk
like, no,
about it,
that's-
right?
yeah.
You talk about it. You communicate. You have your little retreats at the end of the year. Where are we? How do we do this year? That's what Rod and I do.
Yeah,
How did we do? Remember when this happened? Could we have handled that better? And what do we want to do next year? Let's set our next year goals. I mean, we do that in our business, right? And having a family is a form of business.
Oh, so y'all set like relationship
We do
goals
both.
together.
So,
Yeah.
let- so,
Yeah,
so
we have a
actually,
retreat at
here's
the
what
end
I
of
would
every
do.
year.
I want you to talk about that because one thing I like that you said, Rob, was like you in tune with Jen.
Yeah.
Like I'm in tune with where she is
Yeah.
emotionally. I'm in tune with where her energy is. I'm in tune with her in these different ways. And I think sometimes when you're just talking to couples, they literally can just fall out of tune with each
Yeah,
other.
no doubt.
They just like
No doubt.
literally
100.
not even connected in that way
100%.
anymore.
No doubt.
And talk about that. What are some things that y'all do to make sure that you guys stay in tune with each other and stay on the same page as a as a team?
Yeah, I think sometimes for us, because it's become so, we're so in sync with it. We probably don't even. It's almost like an innate kind of thing. We just do it. But oftentimes, and we'll talk about this later, we can be places and both be on opposite sides of the room and sense something. And later when we get back, we'll be like, you were kind of feeling it too. Yeah, I was feeling it too. It's like let's exit. Let's cut out. It's like the energy, the whatever it is. And then sometimes I can see her and I know, and vice versa. Now you might not know, but she'll look and say, and then she might say, you ready to go, or do you want to do this, or what's going on, or whatever the case may be. Because it's just that level of connection in reference to, most of it probably came from just the in-depth conversations we've had. And the little teeny nuances, little teeny things
Yeah.
she sees nobody else sees. Or something she heard nobody else is paying attention to. And then she'll catch, and I do the same thing. And we'll go places. So it's something as simple as a lot of times when I joke with her about this, I kind of know her moods even about eating. We'll go somewhere. And
So annoying.
And she gets annoyed about it, but I tell her, I can't help it. I'm sorry. I have studied you. Okay? We'll go somewhere, and I'm like, you don't want to eat that. Yes, I do. I was like, no, you don't. You want this right here. I said, I can order for you, but I'm not going to order for you. What do you want to get? And
I'm
then
like,
she'll-
no, I'm
and
ordering
she'll
for
go over
myself.
here, and then she'll go, okay, that's what I want. I'm not trying to. I'm not flexing it. I know you. I'm just saying. I mean, it's like I know her. I know you. She knows me generally that way. It's probably 95% accurate. So every once in a while, it's a little bit off. Every once in a while, anything can be off.
And
But
that-
for the most part, it's on.
The annual retreat you guys do, that is something that like no key. First of all, how long have y'all been doing it, and like what's the stipulations around that to make sure that it works the way it's supposed to?
Well, I mean, we've been doing it since we've been together, really.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Every year.
So now we've had some times where we kind of, because of different things like COVID and all this stuff. So we had different times where we altered how we do it. But generally our way to do it was we'd always take a few days at the very end of the year into the beginning of the new year. We always wanted to cross over into the new year, and not like a New Year's resolution, but
Right.
just we're closed this year out. We discussed this year, and we got our plan for next year.
No kids.
No.
So you never see the kids on New Year's?
No. What we would do, no, correct. For a lot of years we didn't,
For a lot
because
of
what we
years,
do
yeah.
is Christmas time, because we did a whole family Christmas thing.
Oh, okay.
And then just like 27th or 28th, right at the end, we jet out. And we're
Wow.
only gone 3 days, 4 days, and then we come back. And they might go grandparents or something. Now they're all grown, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
But during that time, they go with their nieces and nephews. They're all out of school. You know, they go over and, go to their niece, nephew, aunt, uncle's house. They all hang out and play.
That's dope.
We go do our retreat.
And sometimes the girls
yeah.
would go to their other fathers.
Yeah, and sometimes the kids would split and go to the other parents. But the thing that was good for us was what we found out later, and this one day we're gonna have to do this because we've got a journal. What we found out later, I mean years later, we go back and read it, and exactly what we wrote is exactly what transpired in the following months.
We wrote it down.
The goals, the things we said we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and sometimes it'd be a little something that was off that we didn't quite get it all the way there, but the power of just doing it,
Yes.
and then agreeing on it and praying about it. I mean, it just sealed the deal.
It was
So
powerful.
it definitely changed the trajectory of things, and a lot of things by us doing that.
And now you guys have built, man, like an incredible, like portfolio of real estate over the past few years. That's been the vehicle that you guys have chosen to commit to. Why did you guys commit to using real estate as the vehicle that you guys chose to build wealth as a couple?
You want to take that?
I'll change it.
It's a very good question, Todd, because we've tried our hand at many things, and we're talented in a lot of ways. So like I said, we had created a line of skincare products. I mean, I've worked in corporate America. We have a real estate brokerage and all this, but in the background, the backbone of our financial success has always been real estate investing, and we enjoy it. But we chose it because we know that it's a wealth builder, and it's something we can pass down to the next generation. There's only 4 real assets that you can invest in, and real estate is one of them. There's businesses, real estate, stocks and bonds, and then commodities. Stocks and bonds confuse me. It confuse Rod too. I mean, we've tried our
We've
hand
done
at
it,
it, and we
but we
still
just,
do
like,
here and there, but we're just not that good at it. I feel like a lot of it is a guess. So real estate is one that is very flexible. It's sustainable. It's transferable. It's powerful, and and so we like it. We get to use our creativity in it. We get to provide housing for people while doing it. It brings us cash flow every month. It appreciates like no other asset. It's a hedge against inflation. It's a tax advantage, right? You can pass it down. You can put it in places where people don't even know you have it.
Right.
We don't go around boasting about all of our properties and all this, but we know that it'll pass down to our children and to our children's children.
Yeah.
Any wealthy person that you know of has real estate in their portfolio for that very reason. But the tax benefits are tremendous, and it's ways that you can keep money that you make and not have to pay it out in taxes. And really, that's not really what the government wants us to do anyway. They
Right.
really want us to not pay taxes. We pay it, or some people do. Rod and I work very hard not to, and we use real estate as that tool.
You do what's made available to those that make the rules. And I mean, it's not like a disparaging remark to people that are super wealthy, but let's face it, people that are super intelligent
Follow the money.
and know how to make wealth, build wealth, have a lot of them created the rules. We utilize the same rules. Well, they're made for all of us. Just because there's a group that know them better, the thing for us was, well, you learn what they know, you do what they do. You don't do anything illegal, you do what's legal and what's already the provisions that are set. And many of us just don't know what those provisions are and how to use them. And so one of the things that's always been important to us is, educate people. You know what I'm saying? Look, because it's been a blessing to us. It's been a blessing to our family. We've put our kids through college. Look, the reason why we can do what we do now, we've been, in 4 or 5 different states in the last month and just doing different things.
Yeah.
And we can travel and do that because
Yeah.
of what we've been afforded to do based on our investments.
And let me tell you, this is a very humble couple here, guys. They're not going to brag. They're not going to boast. They're not going to have the jewelry all hanging out the chains, a lot of the stuff that you see online. But I want you guys to know, I'm talking about the knowledge expands from rental properties, Airbnb, renovations. You own buildings. You're talking about purchasing a hotel. And you've even put yourself in a position to bless other people, to teach them this as well, because I know it's somebody out there, you want to change your financial life. We know you want to change your relationship, which is why you're watching Harley Initiated. But in order to have a healthy relationship. We got to make some paper, y'all.
I got a question real quick because I know you guys got to go. But what do you see? What do you see happens to couples that alleviate the financial pressure and alleviate the I guess the tragedy of having to work corporate and they kind of are doing their own thing? Like, what do you see happens to those couples once they're able to reach that level?
Well, money is one of the main reasons people divorce. So you got to get your finances straight. It's part of one of the things that Rod and I talk about when we go on our retreat. Let's look at our money. Where's it going? What are we doing? What's our financial plan? It is extremely important, but it comes with education and understanding how to build wealth for you and your family, right? So the Bible says a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. Yeah. You can't have children if you don't have a wife and you don't have a family. So a family is responsible for leaving an inheritance. And so when you can get that financial piece straight in your marriage, it is extremely powerful and very, very helpful to keeping the couple together. Yeah. Because it's one of the reasons they divorce.
And the corporate piece, I mean, you mentioned, because we've had, and including some people we mentor now, we've had people that are in corporate America and they do extremely, I mean, they're doing extremely well financially as it relates to how much they make, but they're not happy. Mm-hmm. We see that a lot. They're not happy. Yeah. I mean, they got corporate jobs, they're VPs, they're this. They're working like 60, 70 hours a week. The phone's always blowing up, and they got these big titles, but really we can sit down and talk, but they're not happy. Mm-hmm. And so then we find out it's because you're really not doing what you really, really love. Mm-hmm. So the benefit of learning how to really invest and build wealth is you build wealth so you can do what you really, really love.
Not just to get a bunch of money.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, you can get paid off it, that's fine, but you got wealth. And because you got wealth, if your thing is, I like educating, motivating, whatever it is, then you then pour yourself into the thing you love, but you got it. Look, we all realize money makes everything move. Yeah. So you can't have, I don't need any money, I don't need much money. Yeah, right. Okay. You do need it. Yeah. Okay. And if you have it and you have plenty of it, then it makes you freer to do the things that you really want to do. Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of couples want to sit where y'all sitting there right now.
That's why we need you to free them. Okay. Yeah. So let's see what we can do here, y'all, because I think y'all have something very special coming up that's going to be freeing our people. In particular, I think you guys are actually hosting a masterclass for the people. If you can give me some details on what that event entails and who it is for.
Okay. So every month we do what we call our 5-day challenge, and it's about real estate investing. It's called Real Estate to Riches, 5-day challenge, and it's like a workshop. And everybody calls it a challenge, but basically we're challenging you to remove the shackles from your mind and from your finances and learn how to invest in real estate. And we take you through some very basic, fundamental steps. We give you the reason why you want to do it, and it lasts for 5 days, for like an hour and a half. We meet with you every month, and it's called the Real Estate to Riches Challenge. It's realestatetoricheschallenge.com. We do it every month. You can just register for it, sit in the class. It's interactive. You can ask questions, but you're going to learn a whole lot during that time. And from time to time, we'll offer a master class, which is only 90 minutes. So we offer that too, and that's called the Real Estate Made Simple Masterclass. So we're constantly offering different workshops
we always
and
have
courses.
Something educational we try to put out that way can allow people to really get the context, because it's hard to really explain a lot of what we get into in 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So but when they do this, it's concentrated. So we go into details and dig a little deeper. We get into tax stuff. We get into, we're not tax accountants or attorneys, but we give you our experiences from our deals, which is something we know very well, every deal that we've done. And then we share those and we explain and kind of dissect them so people can see, well, how did you do that? This is how we did it. And then we talk. And then periodically we'll have people on that are people that are mentors and advisors to us. We've had our attorney on. We've had our tax advisor on. We've had other people come on and kind of kick it with us, even in that process sometime, and let them get a snip of like 10, 15 minutes from somebody that's a professional in a certain area.
Man, I love that, y'all. And listen, for anybody who's interested, we will have the link right there in the description. So you can just look right below, right in the description. We're going to make it nice and easy. But make sure, especially for those of you who are serious, and only those of you who are serious about taking your finance to the next level, about getting into real estate and play at the highest level with people who are actually in this business, make sure y'all join this class. ASAP. And I really do appreciate you guys for sharing some time here with us
Yeah, y'all
in
are
the
dope.
Harley Initiative family. Thank you guys so much for being on here.
Appreciate y'all
Thanks
too.
for having
It's a
us.
blessing for us
We
being here.
enjoyed
Really.
it.
Yep.
For sure, for sure.
Absolutely, guys. And listen, thank you guys also for tuning in. All right, make sure you go ahead and subscribe if you made it this far in the video. We need that subscribership as we are growing this platform. You see, by the time y'all watching this, we already at 100,000 subscribers here.
Yeah.
We are growing it. The milestones are leveling up. The milestones are changing, and we want to take you with us. So subscribe to the channel as we take you to the next level in your relationship, in your finance, spiritually. We taking you there. But listen, Harley Initiated, we are out.